Thank you everyone for joining today's talk, delivered by Green Token here and Metalympics. Today we are doing a talk at a very exciting venue at the K11 Musea called the Sandbox Season 3 Atelier. And today we have Dominic Varley from Green Token. My name is Christopher Lee. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Metalympics. Before we get into the talk we have prepared earlier, let me introduce briefly about Metalympics. Metalympics is a partner metaverse agency of the Sandbox. The major goal of our partner metaverse agency is to deliver the effective identity of our corporate partners and clients, and we are also the leading esports organizer on the Sandbox metaverse, having run more than 30,000 Sand tokens as a prize pool of our exciting speedrunning competitions on the Sandbox globally, as sponsored by the co-founder and CEO of the Sandbox, Sebastian Boje. That's about it from our company, and today I really want to introduce the Dom from Green Token. Please invite Dominic Varley, the senior manager of the Green Token.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. Excited to be here. It's our first real public opportunity to talk Green Token with anyone. So yeah, really happy and fortunate to have the time.
That's true, right? Green Token here, Metalympics here, both of us are like growing startups here in the Web3. We're sharing our common interests in the metaverse. And so please, could you introduce a little bit more about Green Token? All of our here really want to know what the Green Token really does and what it is.
Yeah, sure. Look, it's a project, and what we're really trying to do is change the narrative around Web3, and I guess look at how we can take an opportunity in kind of what we call, I guess, the crypto winter, and sort of change the discussion around what is largely speculative and hype, and actually talk about that real world utility, right? And how we can look to use Web3 and in particular tokens to drive kind of real world behavior change. And so with that, we're working to build out our project, which is really looking to use a token to incentivize sustainable behavior. And so what we specifically talk about, quick note, Web Paper V2 is coming out next week, and it'll have a lot more of this new terminology. White Paper V2 will come out with new terminology on the web, and people can kind of follow up. But really, in the new document, what we talk about is the green premium, right? And that's the cost that people pay as a consumer or in society, where you are the premium that you pay by choosing a green or low carbon option against a traditional fossil fuel industry or traditional product, right? Whether that be alternate protein or whether it be alternate transport, the premium you pay between both. So we want to use our token to incentivize an environment where people are being encouraged to either pay the extra because you get rewarded in token, or you're doing so because you are part of a community that understands and values what an extra effort will cost me. I guess to get kind of into specifics, we really break our project down into three components, and one which is what we call Unite, and so that's around community. And again, Web3 has just been so incredible about creating a community around a central idea. Right? And whether that be a specific type of NFT, or whether it be kind of around the potential of certain chains, Web3 has just been fantastic around this community element. So let's take that power and the capability to organize people and put that around making real difference towards sustainable behavior and climate change. So Unite really sits in a broad scheme of what we're after in our whole project and everyone that we want to be involved in. The next component is what we call reward. So, literally the most kind of real world example would be something like air miles, right? So you work, you go and you a consumer or a customer of a service, and you get rewarded in token in your wallet for purchases that you make. Now, there's a lot of kind of groundwork about how we choose partners, but you've got to be careful and understand the concerns around efficacy and greenwashing and a lot of things like that that are obviously in space. But we're working through those elements and also be quite selective in our partners to begin with. But really, like legitimately, like people end up with token for their consumption decisions. And I think that's a unique idea for being on chain, because this is where the analogy to air miles breaks down. Because in the air miles scenario, you are forced to accept the exchange rate with one supplier, right? And there's an infinite amount of air miles out there. At the flick of a switch, they give you your miles, right? But if something's on chain and there's only 7.8 billion tokens, then different companies, different partners will compete for those tokens and for your, for your business. And so what we're really looking to do is create an active and vibrant community that's looking to be rewarded in token for what they're doing. And then take that a step further, because there is a finite system we create, real world utility by then back to air miles, where the individual then collects a whole heap and exchanges them back out for products when they're getting up. So that's what we call reward. And then I guess finally what we call support, and this is where some of the utility of the token comes in as well. It's a component where we vet, or we through our website, through our platform, we allow for projects, startups, and not-for-profits to apply to us and see how they match up with our goals and our ideals. And if they're approved, they jump on the platform, and then individuals can contribute to those in a range of different ways. So yeah, more detail, and certainly check out another new white paper that's coming out very shortly.
That's really exciting. I definitely agree. Especially the concept of utility is definitely your most important part, especially the Web3. We're talking about the NFTs, adding the tokens over there. Could you actually briefly introduce if there are any projects that you're already in support with, or like you're applying for support with a green token, especially the third party you just mentioned, about supporting those non-profit NGOs or those startups out there?
Yeah, certainly. So we're a Hong Kong-based group. So Hong Kong-based startup. It's such a vibrant community here, both in the sustainability space and the Web3 space. So we've already, you'll see, we've done a partnership with a group called the Civic Exchange here in Hong Kong, who are think tanks that are really sort of driving the integration between green decision making, carbon reduction. They've got a heavy focus on air pollution as well, and how that fits into the business model. So, and the business community here in Hong Kong. So they're really a thought leader in this space. And they're helping us with some of the advisory work and kind of, again, reviewing projects and how we stay true to our goals and our ideas. But I guess to be more specific, and I guess again, well first, is that we are just finalising the details on an event with TNC, which is a large donation conservancy, their group, and so we'll be going out to their reef regeneration project in October, and members of the Green Token community that come along will be rewarded in token for their time and effort, right? So, which is a big component, encouraging people to get involved and make changes in their behaviour, and that includes donating your time. So individuals will come with us and literally at the end of the day receive tokens, which early on utilities, just like everything else, is a bit limited, but join the community and really work with us to build a vibrant community with great utility.
It's really interesting. I mean, I really want to point out that even myself or a company, as a corporate point of view, it's really hard to find a real reason or motivation why we need to get into such, green activities or like, it could be very costly, right? But now that we have the Web3, we're finally, I think we're seeing a true solution of how to incentivize all those green people, green startups, or even those green projects out there, use the green token and also trying to build a community out here. I think it's very sweet. very exciting opportunity we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Look, yeah, it's a really exciting space. Unique, and look, we building the tools for projects and the community to kind of continue to grow on its own. I mean, we can't do this alone. We just got to create space and hope people can run with it.
Absolutely. So I guess we are finally in the most exciting part of today's announcement, today's talk, which is we, Green Token and Metalympics, have been working so close to each other, and finally we're about to announce the Green Token, the Sandbox experience on the Sandbox. So before we talk about it, let me show you the exciting video we have created.
I love it.
Absolutely exciting, right? You like it?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we saw it a couple days ago. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really love what we've done there.
I'm also very excited to see what's going to come over the next few months, especially hopefully we can be a part of one of the official alpha seasons so that we can have our experience be played by millions of players out there in the world, so that everyone knows about Metalympics, knows about Green Token, so that we can deliver messages more effectively. So again, we're so excited to deliver the fact that the Green Token and Metalympics are putting a strategic partnership with each other so that we can push this green message forward on the metaverse. So let's get back to our experience on the Sandbox Metaverse, especially if you want to hear more about why you decided to set up a Metaverse experience, especially you being a part of the Web3 industry, and Metaverse could be a very effective tool as a marketing. But tell me a little bit more about your story. What made you decide on building a Metaverse experience?
Yeah, I think for us it just makes sense because when you look at who we're targeting and who we want in the community, right? And we can talk long term, we can talk short term, but like long term, we see that we actually almost have two two goals that are good for society. One is obviously driving the green message and around carbon reduction and sustainability. The other one is probably closer to everyone here's day to day, is that we really believe Web3 is the future, right? And we really believe that there's a lot of people that sit in the Web2 space or the traditional space, they just aren't exposed to that, right? And we think that there's a real push for us is to help people migrate across. That's looking long term. I think in the short term, we need to get the power of numbers and the power of the community and the power of this Web3 culture of real community building to jump on board our project. And so for us, we see that the first core or early adopters of what we're looking into, or who we're looking to reach, is people who are entrenched in the metaverse and also have a strong interest in sustainability, right? And I think that's a really, or don't you think, I know just from being, for having this project that's been running, is that it's actually a bigger cohort than I first imagined. I think initially we thought, okay, we'll get some traction and then we'll have to go into the sort of older generations and we'll have to look at who's out there and how we attract them. But look, I think even from the early on, from simple things like our Discord and Twitter, I'm getting private messages from people like, how can I help? How can I get involved? How can I help build this community? And we have done nothing but market in the Web3 space. So for me, I think it's just going to be an incredible tool to really reach out to people who that message resonates with. And I think there's some overlap there. Like obviously, metaverse, NFTs, it skews young, right? Like it is young, and I think also being climate conscious and worried about the future skews young. And so there is a lot of overlap. And yeah, we're really excited to reach out to that group of people.
Absolutely, that is a very good motivation, I guess, for the Green Token to really build an experience on the metaverse. But now that it's a very important point that we have to bring up, that's that even the venue that we're joining is the Sandbox after Season 3 Atelier. Now, people want to ask, why the Sandbox? There are like lots of other metaverse projects, or even just game projects, including Roblox, Decentraland, or even just Minecraft, with lots of functionalities, even for you to just deliver simply the key messages to people. So could you briefly explain why did you choose the Sandbox?
Yeah, I think for one, its presence. It's got a big presence in Hong Kong, and it's a big community here that we have great connections with. The other one is reach, right? Like, I mean, in terms of who we're reaching out to and the reach of those brands, I think Sandbox really stands out head and shoulders above the rest of having the best and most exciting reach of people that we can communicate our message to. And the third one is probably, I guess, a little bit more around values or idealistic. Like, there is significant commitment from Sandbox to different green projects and around being carbon neutral. And they've done some really great sustainably focused and especially raising awareness elements already to really push a message that's aligned with that. So I think when you can kind of tick those boxes and say, right, we're gonna find the right people. They're already aligned with what we're doing. I mean, just to use one example of what Sandbox is doing, I guess their push to really focus on the connection with Polygon, right? It's really changing the narrative around tokens. It's changing, like, getting away from proof of work, which is just clouding conversations that you have with people who may not be that familiar with things. So, like, it is quite hard to get on the street and talk about consensus mechanisms with people and energy consumption. It distracts from what we're trying to do, and so I think Sandbox has also realised that and pushed towards Polygon. It's fantastic, and that really aligns with us as well.
That is really true, and especially, I recently saw a LinkedIn post of the Sandbox showing that they have recently reached the 4 million registered wallets on the Sandbox metaverse, and it seemed that definitely I do agree with the concept of the global reach of the Sandbox compared to other projects out there in Web3 or even Web2 we're talking about. So I guess we can also talk about some other projects that are supported by the Sandbox as well. That in the Sandbox, not only that they're on the Polygon network, but they've been also partnering with some other green-friendly or eco-friendly projects on the Sandbox. Especially I remember one project that is supporting one NFT sold on Sandbox would mean one tree planted on one side of the earth. And I think that's definitely one of the utilities that some of the people who want to support the green messages will be looking for by buying the NFTs and then maybe that sort of activities are what we are also looking for on the green token activity as well. So I guess we're seeing a lot of potentials on the Sandbox metaverse, so that'll be really interesting. So, this is also a very exciting concept that everyone wants to know. What would really happen on our green token, the Sandbox experience?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's probably two elements to that, right? So, what do we want the user to take away, or what is the user going to do, kind of in the Sandbox, right? And I think I'd probably start with the second question first, like what do we think? And I think it is like so the Sandbox is going to really connect with what the real life means for us, right? So, we have 3 core focus areas around decarbonisation, around waste management, and around food security, and which all tie into a very strong connection with global warming. So, we really want to then tie this sort of rewards component. Right? So, people are out there doing actions that are clearly green, that are connected with our focus areas, and they're being rewarded for that in the game. And so then people can kind of take away the message that my waste reduction activities, and whether it's as simple as something as putting some recycling away, right? And this is what we do in the metaverse, and this is what we do in the home. To the second point though, what do people take away from the experience? I think what we want to try and do is educate and certainly not preach to, because people don't want to be kind of preached to, but certainly educate around what as an individual you can do to be more sustainable, right? And I think, the recycling one is kind of done to death. Everyone understands that recycling is good, recycling is good. But like, if you look at, I guess there's a group that we look at in terms of our guidance on carbon reduction strategies, and they're called Project Drawdown. And they have some really good content about what businesses and individuals can do. And like the top one and top two elements that an individual or a household can do is around food waste reduction and moving towards a more highly plant-based content in your diet. Right? And I think a lot of people are probably surprised about that. Like moving away from meat, and particularly red meat, has a huge impact to your carbon footprint. And so, like, I think this is a great opportunity to reach out and put some of those sort of gentle education elements into a fun learning experience.
Right, it definitely is. I mean, if you think about it, so Alpha Season 3 that is going on right now is a pretty interesting gamified experience for each partner of the Sandbox to deliver a certain message that they have in mind. For example, the Board Game Yacht Club, there's STMP joining. There are a lot of other brand partners that have their own messages. And I think it's a very great opportunity for the Green Token. Let's say it becomes a part of the Alpha Season 4, even Alpha Season 5, if they even exist. Then maybe those people not only that aim to earn some of the sand tokens, but also at the same time those maybe educational or kind of like inspirational experience that they can prepare could really help them to be encouraged to really join the green messages or green activities that the Green Token is trying to promote, right? Do you see any sort of more connections on how you can encourage those people to be a part of your community, or like those projects or NGOs that you're really supporting in the future through our Sandbox experience?
That's a great question. I think, I think collaboration is going to be key, right? And so, because we continue to build our branding and our kind of partner network, the idea of incorporating future people into those sandbox experiences. Like, I know previously conversations we've talked about what our existence in the sandbox looks like, and maybe there's we start showcasing the projects that we're investing in. And so we convert what is our, or supporting, we convert what is our web platform for these projects and not-for-profits that people can participate, people can support, into maybe an art gallery, right? And each project has their own NFT. I guess the limitations are kind of only limited by our imagination, but I think really involving our partners into what's there is the key there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess Green Token being starting to really active, especially in Hong Kong originally. I've heard there are lots of events and lots of other talks coming up. Just share a little bit of details, I'm going to promote it really.
Yeah, for sure. So look, I think we're in an interesting space, right? So we're straddling, sometimes you can kind of call us, there's a lot of elements of what we're up to that's kind of maybe Web 2.5, right? And so we need to be able to reach out to all communities, and that's both a challenge and an opportunity because there's a big audience that we can talk to. So the big one coming up, first week of October, is the Rethink Conference, which is a very big sustainability conference based here in Hong Kong. It's exciting. I think it's going to be about 3,500 people over 2 days. There's the opportunity to get early bird passes via the Green Token on Twitter. We've got that there if you want to join anyone. So I think that's an opportunity for us to talk to people that are interested in this space in both sustainability and I guess we're talking about target markets. It's the other way, right? Like it's people who are heavily entrenched in the sustainability environment and that might have some interest in opening a wallet or joining the metaverse and just kind of seeing what it's all about. Right? And I think we've planned some games and some systems there to help people build wallets and help people get some token and get maybe their first NFT and kind of connect it with carbon reduction and a lot of things like that. So it's going to be exciting for us, and it's really our first kind of big conference event. We're going to be reaching out a lot of people.
That's super cool. I mean, you can really expect me to be there as well. Like, hopefully Metalympics can also be part of the event in October.
Yeah.
We can say hi to each other, and we can really become a partner that can promote each other's projects, so that we can one day big projects in Hong Kong at the same time. Cool, super cool. So guys, that was really good talk delivered by Metalympics and Green Token. So make sure you check out our QR codes to follow Metalympics and Green Token's Twitter pages and other social media pages, so that you can also check out the event that Dominic just mentioned. So thank you so much, Dominic, for the talk today.
Thanks, Chris.
And please, yeah, thank you so much.